Okay, let's start. All right, please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation by Mr. Waylon Lockbear.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, city manager and attorney. It's an honor to pray with you and my neighbors. Notice bow. Father God, I just thank you so much for this evening. Lord, I just pray that we welcome your spirit here tonight, Lord, and I just pray that as we have discussions that we welcome you in and to help us, give us wisdom, Father. And I just also want to lift up our police department, our fire department, and all of our first responders. Protect them, protect their families. We just love you so much. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, city clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Jackson. Here. Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Willis. Here. Vice Mayor Hutchison.
Here.
Mayor Capizzi. Say, is he here?
Mayor Capizzi here.
Is it on speaker?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
There we go.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, we have roll call. So approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Did you want something pulled?
Yeah, Commissioner Jackson pulled J1.
You gotta talk about it before you approve the agenda.
Commissioner Jackson, you want to pull H1 or
Yeah, the topic of the skate park.
H3? Okay. So can I get a
Approve
motion?
the consent agenda minus H3.
Motion to approve consent
Second.
agenda minus H3, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, C1, we have a special presentation from our great fire department on the community paramedic program.
Hey, good evening, Commission. My name is James Schindler. I'm the EMS Chief of Cocoa Beach with the Fire Department. Been with you guys for about 18, 19 years now. Tonight, we're going to talk to you briefly about the Community Paramedic Program and some of the benefits of it. I'm going to tell you by starting kind of how it began, and Sherry's going to pick up and tell you the benefits of. So in the fire service, we have operations, fire operations, and we have EMS operations. So EMS operations accounts for about 72% of everything we do. It's a big, big part of our call volume. So about every 3 out of 4 people that call 911 here are calling for a medical purpose. So with that, we often find that we run on the same citizens over and over again. And for some of these things, it's preventable if we are interactive and get to them ahead of time. So by doing this, we save the city money, wear and tear on the vehicles, we overload the system, we tie up resources, and we also would see a reduce in expenses to the patient from ambulance bills, from hospital bills, and so forth. So with that, the Department of Health recognized through DCF that they would send DCF out to help our elderly in need, but it became so overwhelming so fast for them that they said, we need people to be out into the field that could go into the homes of our citizens and help them. So what better place to be than the fire department? The fire department's able to get out there, see the people, what their needs are, and we know our community, and oftentimes we know the patients. So with that, we formed the Community Paramedic Program with the help of Ben Malik and the commission at that time. They were very supportive of it, and we were off the ground and running. So with that, we based it off of Satellite Beach. They have a very, very successful program in their community, and their community absolutely loves them and their program. So what does the program do? Well, just briefly, because I'm going to give this to Sherry, we follow up on the patients. Once they call 911, we follow up, we find out what their needs are, and we're it's like social work. We find out what the problem is, and then we have a myriad of different resources that we can connect to that patient to help them out. So our main purpose of what we want to see for our citizens is we want them to be safe, we want them to be healthy, and we want them to be happy. That's our three big goals. With that, we do home safety surveys when we go out to evaluate and assess. We also want them to be healthy, so we look, are they taking their medications? Are they going on their doctor visits? Do they have food in their refrigerator? It's basic necessities that a lot of times that is what they need, because you got to think, they don't drive, they don't get out much. So we have found ways to connect resources to help them. But what about happiness? Happiness, of course, is something we all want to achieve. We want our citizens here to have. We have also formed a volunteer squad within our department that goes out and does companionship visits. And these visits, we can kind of dual fold. We can get out there and see what their needs are, assess their homes, and we can also give them that time and attention that they oftentimes don't get because they're kind of shut in. You know, they don't get out of the house. So there's a lot of benefits to it. It is a program that is set up entirely for Cocoa Beach residents. There's no other area or people that benefit from this. It is strictly for Cocoa Beach. And a lot of the funding, because that's always a question, is contributions. There's many, many contributions that come into these programs, and sometimes fully fund them with some departments. So we're on our way. We've gotten a couple of years in so far, and Sherry's going to tell you a little more about the benefits of it and what her experience has been.
So some of you that don't know me, my name is Sherry Mahaffey. I retired as a firefighter paramedic after 32 years with Cocoa Beach Fire Department. And at my retirement celebration, Chief Schindler spoke about the community paramedic program that he was establishing. And he asked me if I would be willing to come back and work part-time if the commission approved it. So after 8 months of retirement, I came back and started working and growing this program. So how it works is I get referrals from the fire department, the police department, from a family member, a neighbor, that there's assistance that is needed out in the community with one of our residents. For an example, when the fire department goes out for a lift assist, and they go multiple times to pick up somebody that had fallen, so they also have my business cards on all the fire trucks, so they hand them out to the family so they can reach out to me. And then I go to their home and then do an initial visit. So we find out what the cause of the falls or what services or resources they need. So for instance, when I come in and do a home assessment, we check, do they have smoke detectors? Was the reason I'm there for is for a fall? Is it because of a rug in the middle of the room that they're tripping over? We remove the hazard. If they're slipping in the bathroom and they need grab bars installed, we contact agencies to provide grab bars. If it's because they're weak or balance issues and they need physical therapy, or if they need occupational therapy or wound care, we contact various agencies. We help with getting the resources to them to provide the home care for them, the home health care for them. Also, if they need any type of they decide, hey, the house is too big, I want to move into an independent living or assisted living facility. So we have agencies that we contact that would help with placement, would go out there and find a place that they would like to continue their years at. We also provide these key code boxes, because we have a lot of elderly that live alone, and if they fall and the fire department gets there, the door is locked. If they can't get to the door to let them in and there's no other means to get in, then of course we have to do damage to make entry into their home. So we have these key code boxes. They get to choose what 4-digit code they want. I come back, I send an email to our 911 dispatch so they have it in the system. So if the fire department responds there or the police department, the patient can also give the number to their neighbor to come and check on them, things like that. So they have access to that key. So, and it's very easy and it's nice because it lights up. So if a call is at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, as soon as the fire department gets there, it's very easy for them to see the numbers and get in as soon as they can. Yes.
Are you still doing the lock boxes with the key on the top of the door?
There are still some out there, but the cost of those were a lot more, and only the fire department has that key.
Right.
With this, the police department can get in, a neighbor can get in, and even the patient or the client, that if they, misplace their key, they can get it out themselves and get themselves back into their home. So this is better because it's cheaper and it's more people can have
It
access.
doesn't look cheaper.
No, it's a lot, the Knox boxes that the fire department has, it's like, I think $198 for those. These are like $34. So there's a big price difference
Crazy,
on it.
because the lock boxes aren't very complicated.
Yeah, so also, there's a room behind the stage that we have durable medical equipment that's been donated from other citizens of Cocoa Beach. We have wheelchairs, walkers, shower chairs, all that type of equipment. So if any of our residents are in need of that, it's free of charge. There's no cost to them. They can just come in, sign it out, and they have it for as long as they need. Also, we had some other equipment donated, such as electric wheelchairs and scooters. So if any of our residents need to borrow one, we have that for them. We also had one of our volunteers that donated a beach wheelchair. It's because we have residents that, elderly, the family can't get them on the beach, or a disabled person that wants to go and spend the day out on the beach. They can sign out that beach wheelchair from us for the day. And so that's a nice convenient we have. Chief Schindler also mentioned about our volunteer program. So I have a few of my volunteers here. I don't have a lot of them right now. That's why I need more volunteers for this program. They go out and provide companionship and transportation to the doctors for these people that have no other way to get there. These type of things are really needed out in our community. And in fact, I put some applications, volunteer applications, so if anybody else is interested in becoming a volunteer for this program, because we have a great need in our city. I have a lot of people like on a waiting list right now that are requesting companionship. We also provide hands-only CPR classes and teach how to use an AED. We go out to churches, condo groups, hotels, other businesses, and teach the CPR. We have, did you hand them out? Okay, so if you open the folders that were just given to you, and I'm going to go through these things that we do for our clients. So with this, when I go out to meet them and I do the assessment and see what their needs are, this is a folder that they get to keep. So inside it has my business card, so they have easy access to contact me. And right in the front, you see this file of life. If you pull this out, you slide it out of the sleeve, you open it up, the person would have their name, address, they have their preferred hospital, the emergency contacts, if something happens to them, who we would be able to contact. All their medications, we tell them to pencil that in because that changes all the time. Also, their pharmacist, their date of birth, different information there. On the back, if any recent surgeries, any of their medical conditions, their allergies, and all their insurance information goes on here. So all their important information is right here, and as you see, it's a magnet. So it goes, slides it back in there, and just magnets on their refrigerator. And I have many of these for any of the people that are here in the back, that if any of them want to take these, fill it out, put it on your refrigerator. The sticker you see, the File of Life sticker, that's in here, you put this on your front door. So when EMS gets there, they see this on the door, they know all your information should be filled out and right here. The police department can also use it if there's a situation that we're not involved in and they need to get a hold of, next of kin or something, this is up there for them also. Right behind that, I have this card. Because when we go to visit the people, we do wellness checks. We take their blood pressure and everything. So we made a card, we put their name on it. This stays with them in this folder, so it's easy for them to find it, or us to find it when we go the next time and take their blood pressure and stuff like that. That way they keep it monitored here, so when they go to see their doctor, they can take it and they can see what their blood pressure and stuff has been. Behind that, we made an evaluation form, so if any time they want to write an evaluation about what our program has done for them. There's, on the next page there, it shows about a lot of the different things that we are doing, providing for our citizens. The next page is a bio of me, and that's because I learned so much about these people that I want them to know a little bit about me. We have a fall assessment on here so they can look over. We go over that because different reasons of falls. Is it because they just had, got new medications and they're dizzy, from the medications that's causing falls, things like that. So there's a fall assessment we have there. And then on this next page is the application for disabled person parking permit. A lot of them don't have that, and so we help with this. We already have it in there. They take it to their doctor to sign it, and then we pretty much take care of it from there to get that for them. And then that way, if like our volunteers, they would have that placard to be able to park in a disabled parking spot when they take them to their doctor's appointments and stuff. The next few pages, we created a resource list because so many people contact us, they don't know who to call, to get different resources. So as you hear, I have 24/7 helpline, crisis, suicide prevention, agencies that provide activities of daily living, affordable income housing, assisted living facilities. There's so much in here that's very useful, and they realize they can go through this and contact and make some calls for more assistance. Past that, I have in here locations to dispose of old medications, because a lot of people ask me, because we don't want them to flush it down the toilet, things like that. So the 2 local places in Cocoa Beach that you can take your old medications is Walgreens Pharmacy and CVS Pharmacy. You just take your personal information off of the label off, and you can dispose them there. Just past that, I have a group of support groups, because there's so much out there that people that are caregivers for somebody that has dementia or Parkinson's, and they want to be able to talk to somebody else that's been going through these things too. So we have a list of different type of support groups in there that they can call and set those up. And then past that, we have local food pantries, because we have people that are in need of food. So we have a location of our local food pantries in the area so that they can go and get food. Past that, we put in these, it's called a matter of balance exercise. So these are things that they can do just sitting at home, different type of exercises that they can do on their own, and it's easy directions to help them with strength and balancing for them. Now you pass to the very back, I have in here a healthcare advance directives. So if they haven't filled out like a living will or their healthcare surrogate and stuff, they has the paperwork that's right here to get it taken care of. And then behind that, we have a personal planning guide, and this has a lot of information. So this way you want to complete this before there's a crisis or a death. So this here helps facilitate their wishes, and also it helps the family get through difficult times, make it a little bit easier. We also send birthday cards to our clients. So they get a birthday card that we send to them, and we also call them on their birthday. And just little things like that means a lot to them. So also I just wanted to mention on that file of life that you have in your folders, because these are the ones that go to our clients, I have the fire department sticker on there. That lets the guys know that that's one of my clients, so that they can contact me so I can follow up the process of what the help that they may need afterwards. So these are things, as you can see, we care about our citizens, and we want to make it better for them when they need us. I hope this gives you a better understanding of what this program does and how important it is for our community. Thank you.
Guys, got any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to kind of highlight, you have it in your literature on meals and food. Meals on Wheels, there are certain people that can qualify for very low-cost meals, okay? But even private pay, when I was doing it for my mom, it was like $5.30 for a meal, and they have their own chefs, it's all freshly prepared, it's not, reheated stuff that's left over from a grocery store. And it was only $5.30 for a meal. And she only did it twice a week, but there was enough food there that she could make 2 meals out of it. So just let people know that, you know, Meals on Wheels is a good operation, and you can volunteer for Meals on Wheels and do those deliveries.
So Meals on Wheels, they do need a lot of volunteers, and they need funding. I have a couple of my clients that have been on the list for 8 to 10 months on the waiting list. The last time
Private funding, or?
They just need funding to make the food and volunteers to deliver. The last I heard from AG Matters, which does the Meals on Wheels, they had over 300 people on a waiting list. So it's difficult, and they have a tier system depending, are they bed bound, and they're higher up on the list. So it's very difficult. So we would like to find a way to find dinners or something that we can get out to these citizens. Every once in a while, I do get these free dinners from a different client, and I pass them on to other clients, and they're very happy with it. And I wish we had some type of program that we can get these meals to these residents, because it's so much easier for them to just put it in the microwave and heat something up.
It sounds to me like you're saying Meals on Wheels has had such a demand increase
Yep.
that they're no longer able to keep up with their volunteers and the funding to provide
Exactly,
meals.
exactly. So we're trying to find other ways to, if we can, to provide meals for them.
I mean, if people are paying private pay, which covers the cost of the meal, you'd think that there'd be some other government agency that would be willing to actually fund them to do that, basically just to, you know, keep it going.
But that's unfortunate. I know they have like big dinners and stuff like that, and trying to get a whole bunch of people to donate to the Meals on Wheels. But then there's the other agencies, companies that are out there that will make meals for people, but it's at a charge usually. The last one I checked, the person would come to the home, prepare 16 meals, and it's like $160 for them to do that. But then the client also has to pay for all the products to make the meals. So there are various ways to do it if they can afford having that done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for that, Sherry and Chief Schindler. So D, public comment. So anything that's not on the agenda, do we have any public comment for items? Okay, Miss Janice Scott.
Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. Good evening, everybody. I've recommended 3 people to that program. They seem quite happy. Of course, I call my friends up. Did you see Sherry this month? So
Can you
I
ask Janice
checked up.
to speak closer to the mic?
What?
Hold the mic
Oh,
close.
it's for you? Okay. So anyway, and also I wanted to make a tribute to the late Bill Myers. He was a big advocate of Wheels on Meals. He was always trying to recruit people, and their biggest problem, I think, was finding people to deliver at noon. I think said it took him an hour and a half. He went all over Cocoa Beach, and I also, just on a sidebar about Meals on Wheels, I read in one of the publications recently that somebody had their wedding reception catered by them. So I think if anybody wants a fundraiser, that's a great fundraiser. And I think the lady whose wedding it was is one of the directors or something of the program. But anyway. Okay, so moving along to my specific public comment tonight. It's about getting rid of Wedelia and the maritime hammock. I'm going to give the clerk this little paper. I gave a copy to the city manager because I discussed a few things with the mayor, and I understand about the ARPA funds, so let's forget about ARPA funds. The maritime hammock's not going to get them. But it really is important to start getting rid of that clogged down bed of Wedelia. IFAS, the University of Florida garden program, whatever, they have a nice information sheet, tells you, get rid of it, what chemicals to use, but I really discourage individuals from trying to go over there and do it. I think someone needs to supervise their going there, and also what kind of chemicals are going to be used, so maybe you could find some chump change somewhere, $10,000 to hire a professional to just get rid of that. I think that with Delia, it's the main thing. Once it's out of there, people can come in and plant other kinds of attractive foliage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Janice. Is there another one, or? Thanks, Janice. Nana Happel? Sorry if I got the first name wrong.
It's Nancy Happel.
I'm sorry.
Nancy Happel, it's okay. I apologize, I wasn't planning on coming here. I just realized you were meeting, so I thought I would come and to discuss a problem. I own Blue Wave Beach Cottage on Orlando Avenue. It's a vacation rental. And I've had a noise issue since March that's affected my clients. And I have been unsuccessful in getting that issue, the sound, you can actually hear it inside the vacation rental. You can hear it on the deck where people love to sit with their family and eat. And I've been unsuccessful in getting that issue addressed. Today, I walked out at meeting an air conditioning guy with me, and he knew exactly what it was. It's faulty equipment. Well, I knew what it was, but he recognized what it was and what the problem was from the sound. It was really loud. And I called, again, code enforcement. I couldn't get anybody to come listen. I called the police department thinking, well, I knew according to city code, I could get a police officer to come in and I could make then a formal complaint. That was at 3:19. Nobody showed up. I left like at 3 minutes before 7 to get here. And I'm just hoping that I've got 5 guys coming for a golf tournament this weekend, and you can bet they're going to want to sit out. The weather will be beautiful. And there, I'm right in the heart of downtown Cocoa Beach, and they're going to try to sit out and they'll hear that noise, and that's what they're going to remember about Cocoa Beach. It sounds like a manufacturing area. And you've got my contact information. I'm just asking for some help. My lovely business and my beautiful clients, my customers, I try to give them a great experience, and I can't, at least not outside. So if you can offer me any help, please look at my card and give me a call. I'd appreciate it.
Do you have a suspicion of where the noise is
Yeah, I know
coming
exactly where it's coming from. Yeah, I didn't want to name the business, but yeah, it's coming from a business right across the way from me.
I couldn't hear. Where did she say the noise was coming from?
She declined to say, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
But if you're going to file a complaint, you're going to have to tell them.
yeah, no, I will. I absolutely, I just didn't, in a public setting, I didn't want to, it's been my effort to be as kind to
Okay.
that other business
Okay.
as I can, you know. So if you guys could help me with that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Any other public comments? No? Okay. Agenda item E, staff reports and announcements. City manager?
I have one comment in response to Ms. Scott's concern with Delia. So we had a couple of landscape contractors come out and look at Wedelia. Wedelia is a ground cover that is extremely difficult to get rid of, and most of the landscape companies declined to actually do anything with it. You have to get a specially licensed company that uses an extremely potent herbicide, which has collateral damage effects. By collateral damage, I mean it'll actually kill trees. So I understand her concerns, and we're going to address them, but we have to just be careful with the eradication of Wedelia.
Yeah. I think that was part of the concern of having a volunteer crew versus hired professionals.
Yeah, we want higher professionals.
Is that always been there, do we know? Or is it an invasive species somehow that got planted there? Or I'm not a gardener, so I don't know, but.
I have no idea,
It just, there was some, and then we only mow part of the property. So it just overcame a whole bunch of other property. So one solution could be just mow the crap out of it, mow the crap out of it, mow the crap out of it. I know Janice will say it's just gonna come back stronger, but if you just, no herbicides, no pesticides, no damage to the other trees, just mow the crap out of it, and then.
That's not a bad idea, actually, and that's a maintenance issue. And the poison ivy is an issue there, too. So we would want to have an education program so people understand what, poison ivy is. Some people don't even know what it is. And the fact that it can grow as a vine, which one of our commissioners found out the hard way, but.
Yeah. I go through the park every week, and 3 people could pick every sprout of poison ivy, especially now that it's blooming the white flowers. It's really easy to identify. 3 people could pull it all up in 3 hours by the roots. So that poison ivy is not a big deal. It's a big deal if you're, fall into the bushes or something, or your kids are running, chasing a ball into the bushes, but it's not a big problem as far as getting rid of it.
So if we're doing just the clear cut, is that scope we'd still want to hire out, you think? Or is it just
Yeah, we got
another item
mowers.
we'd add to
We have
the city's
mowers.
scope?
I think we can probably handle it in-house
Yeah.
with a little bit of help. That's
May I
that's
make a
the
comment as
approach we're
well?
gonna take.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so from also what I was hearing too, I think I spoke with the city manager about this. If we were to get rid of a lot of the invasives, we're talking about also getting rid of about 80% of the overhead coverage. And that's one of the things that makes that park so nice is all the shade to be able to walk through. So I don't want to ruin that park. I don't want to turn it into a desert. I would say if we were going to try to get rid of anything invasive, definitely we should probably stick with, the Brazilian peppers. The Brazilian peppers are serious weeds. They do take over, but that's something we might be able to do in-house as well. And if we did have to outsource it, I would say probably not for this budget, but we should maybe think about it for next budget. Just because we're so tight this year anyways because of the City Hall project.
Mayor, we took out the Australian pines years ago, and if there's Australian peppers in there, I guess I'm blind.
Brazilian peppers.
Brazilian peppers or whatever you want to call them. I guess I'm blind. There may be a couple of obscure ones somewhere, but as far
I
as
don't know.
the shade trees, there's oaks, there's some dying bay trees, there's lots of palms. There are strangler figs on some of those palms, but the palms seem to still be growing. But the strangler figs probably aren't a great idea, but yeah, I don't think anything that we're proposing or chatting about here tonight is going to take any of the big shade trees out.
Okay, great.
Especially if we don't put this killer herbicide on those plants that we're trying to eradicate that'll permeate down into the soil and get sucked up by the roots of the trees, and then next thing you know, we got dead trees. So I'm just saying, Mo, baby, mo.
And honestly, I don't mind the Australian pines either because they're not really, what do you call it? Like grass where it just spreads out. They kind of stay in their own spot. So I'm okay with the Australian pines as well.
Yeah, there aren't any Australian pines in there anymore. They got taken out about 5 years ago.
So it sounds like an easy, short-term solution that can help.
Yeah, it just
Determine the
needs
best path
some more
forward.
TLC and more attention, so.
I like it. Anything else?
That's all I got, yeah.
Attorney?
Oh, nothing tonight, thank you.
City Commission?
Nothing tonight?
If somebody, I'll speak at the end for City Commission.
Did you
Okay.
have something, Commissioner Williams? Oh.
Wayne, did you listen to my voicemail?
Yes,
Okay.
you're right, too. You're talking about the.
The caged ladder that was proposed for the city hall? You're gonna get that undone?
Yes. Yeah, but you're right, though, on that one.
Yeah.
You want to share with the rest of the commission? or-
Yeah, I'll just tell you that I caught wind of there was gonna be a caged ladder, which you see all over the state, all over the country. I guess it's so if you're climbing up the ladder and you fall back, you hit the cage, and then you fall to the ground, and we know where you're gonna land, okay? Well, OSHA says in 2017, get rid of them because people are catching their legs and breaking legs and getting all tangled up in the caged ladder, and then it's really hard to rescue people. So the slides on the ladders with the fall protection harness is the better idea. And the OSHA said, because there's so many of them in the United States, in 2017, when they put it into law that that's no longer allowable per OSHA standards, they said by 2036, everyone in the country has to be removed. So why would we put one up when the future generations are gonna end up having to take it down and pay for a retrofit? So I was hoping that they hadn't already ordered the ladder with the cage on it and,
It's there.
oh,
It's on site.
you'd think the manufacturer would say, oh, do you realize this is an OSHA violation?
We've got to hire and bring it back.
Well, you would think our architect would have too, but
Yeah,
Right.
it fell through the cracks. So. They're
anyway.
addressing it though, you're 100% right.
But I mean, just, tell W&J, they probably, them and the architect made a mistake and it shouldn't be at the cost of the city. If that's possible,
Had
if
that
that's
conversation.
negotiable.
Is there any other relevant details on the city hall? It looks like it's coming along nicely. I saw they put I'm assuming that's the generator platform
Yes.
on the Brevard side. Anything else of note to share? or-
Just concerns on supply of electrical components, elevator components, things like that, which have the potential of affecting our timeline. But other than that, everything's going really well. Great contractor to work with. They're going to start hopefully some of the exfiltration. The exfiltration system will be next if you see, earthwork going on in there. But everything's going really well.
Are they, are April-ish next year? Are they still on plan for that for,
Substantial completion is the first week of February.
okay, so they've accelerated slightly. Good. It's exciting.
All good.
The only thing I'll have is the mosquitoes are horrible. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I literally in Cocoa Isles ran through there and had probably 50 on me. It was unbelievable. So apparently they sprayed last night, I think.
Are you
by
a Floridian?
County spring, yeah.
I just don't
Are you-
run fast. I
are
just
you-
don't run fast enough to
Are
outrun
you a
mosquitoes.
Floridian?
Especially
Or
bad.
are you just those
They're terrible, they're everywhere.
out-of-state people that
Yeah.
the
No,
mosquitoes like?
it was a noticeable uptick the last 2 weeks. I'm assuming all the rain we had, it was,
Really bad.
oh. But apparently they were spraying last night by helicopter, so That's it for me. Mayor Capizzi, if you have any comments, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll piggyback on that. It was Tuesday morning that I noticed a real bad uptick on the mosquitoes because I went out to put the garbage out and I got tore up, and I'm a Floridian, so. Also, just want to say miss you guys. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight. I'm doing a League of Cities convention down here in Hollywood. So I'm representing the city, trying to make connections for everyone. But I'm here. I saw Wade. Wade's here, so that's pretty cool. And that's it. So.
Okay, well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
Hey, but are you gonna make it back in time for the pirate party at Bird Island on Saturday?
I might. I think so. Yeah, I'm heading back Saturday noon. So.
At least just tell us where the keys to your boat are. That's really all we need.
It doesn't have keys. I know how to start it.
Okay. City Commission reports, consent agenda, H1. City Attorney?
Okay, this is the consent agenda. Item 1, approve July 16, 2024 and August 1, 2024 commission meeting minutes, staff representative, city clerk's office. Item 2, approve the ranking of audit firms as recommended by the Auditor Selection Committee with Malden and Jenkins ranked as number 1 and authorize staff to negotiate a contract. Staff representative, Patricia Draycott, Chief Financial Officer. Item 3 has been removed. Item 4, cancel the September 5th, 2024, 7 p.m. regular commission meeting. The next commission meetings are as follows. September 4th, 2024 at 6 p.m., budget and regular.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Oh, okay. And September 19th, 2024 at 7 p.m., budget and regular. Staff representative Wayne Caragino, city manager.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
And a second? All in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Bye.
Motion carries 5-0. Items removed from consent agenda, so.
Okay, that's item 3, approve contracting Doug Wilson Construction Services to begin renovations of the Cocoa Beach Skate Park. Budgeted item, $82,679. Staff representative Scott Maxim, project manager.
Good evening. So this project, originally we were going to replace all of the metal pool coping, or metal coping around it, and we were going to replace the pool coping that's around the deep bowl part of it. But there was a lot of concerns from citizens about replacing the metal coping with a concrete edge. So we met out there with the mayor, me, Wayne, and Mayor Capizzi to discuss that. And we came up with a sort of compromise for now. What we're going to do is there's a 40-foot section of the metal coping that we are going to replace with a concrete edge. And we're going to see how the public responds to that, because I don't think a lot of people are really sure what that's going to be like as far as skating on it. And I've personally gone out there and spoken to a few different people that I've just randomly seen out there, and some people like the concrete edge, some people like the metal coping, so we'll see how that goes. Along with that 40-foot section, we're also going to be replacing all of the pool coping caps that are around the deep bowl. So all those will get replaced with exactly what's already there. And there's a section, there's like a 6x8 flat section on the deep bowl kind of hip that juts out, and it's sinking, so that's going to get rebuilt. And that's kind of the gist of that project right now, what we're looking at.
So, Scott, the part that's sinking, have they considered doing injection to pop that back up?
I'm not entirely sure what their plan is with that part of it as far as how they're going to repair that section.
Because, I know people that have had their, their house got built before the ground was fully compacted or settled, or there was, trees and stuff buried, and then they degraded, and then there was, and the garage floors kind of sank a little bit, and they brought in companies that actually drilled,
Yeah.
150 holes in their garage floor and pumped in some kind of plasma that actually brought the floor back to level.
Yeah,
So the potential solution for out there, if it's sinking,
yeah.
you put enough material under it, it'll bring it back up.
Yes, sir.
Keep it from sinking again.
Yep.
This is already on contract though, like they've already got the scope dialed in, how they're gonna repair it, or is that an option?
No, that's part of this 82,000. That's
Yeah,
all of this.
it's on them per the contract to
What I'm saying is
fix
if
that
this is-
leveling thing.
Got it.
But if it's sinking
Yeah.
and you just,
Contract.
if you just reform it on the top part,
It's just gonna continue
it's gonna
sinking.
sink again.
They do it, our neighbor had a pool leak and it eroded under the pool deck and I think he injected like 800 gallons of
Yeah.
concrete. It really does work. I mean, they injected it and lift the whole deck up.
Yeah, I think it's a polyurethane, like a single or two-phase polyurethane that can do
Where I
some
was going
pretty
is
cool
if
stuff.
It's already on scope for them to just tear it out. put
And
new
a lot
pad in.
of the, to put some people's minds at ease, a lot of people were concerned that this particular company, Doug Wilson, has never done
Yeah.
skate parks before. But they are working with a company, I forget the name of them, but he's subcontracting them, and they both worked for Team Payne, who originally built that skate park. One of those people who is like part owner in the company, he was one of the original people that built the skate park. So these people are well versed in the skate parks. This is what they do. The skate park is in good hands, and it has people that know what they're doing working on it.
Okay, so they're gonna do this work, okay? You're the project manager. Did you write the contract?
I wrote the RFP, they provided a proposal,
Okay.
but we actually,
Does their proposal include any kind of warranty on their work?
yes.
How long?
I have to look back, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. Because the warranty, if they're not gonna do this injection thing, might be, now we got another problem 5 years from now, depending on how long their warranty is. So if you obviously are gonna have conversations with them, it's not that expensive. They might wanna consider the injections under the sinking part to kind of bring it back up. It might even be cheaper for them.
So I had a question on, so of all of the repairs that need to be done, I'm looking at the background on the summary. One sounds like that's gonna be like a trial piece, they're gonna do a 40-foot section, if that works, we would then do that for the rest of the skate park?
Yeah, so the plan is, we're gonna do that 40-foot section and see how the public responds to that concrete edge. If they don't respond positively, then we will look into options as far as replacing the
Got it.
metal coping in kind with metal coping.
So we still need to do like a phase 2 to do the rest of the park. If we do bullet 2 and do bullet 3, and then the second phase of bullet 1, is that everything for the skate park to get a functioning, or is this all like a trial pilot?
No, the only thing that's trial is that 40-foot section of
Just
metal
number
coping.
one, I got it.
Everything
Okay.
else that's fixing pretty much
Oh, good.
everything.
Okay.
else, yeah.
Scott, thank you for
Can I make a comment?
Hang on a second.
Oh, he's welcome to go.
Go ahead.
All right. Scott, thank you for the information. I've had folks reach out to me with concerns about the concrete lip, right? And what I've been told, and so not being a skateboarder myself, I know my boys have certainly enjoyed the skate park a lot. The concern is associated with the metal coping being far better than a concrete edge, both in terms of, putting your skateboard across it, the feel, the way it slides, then also the concrete itself just not holding up the way that the metal edge does. Do we have a reason to believe that the concrete, the way it's being done, will represent the way metal feels and won't tear up boards?
Yes, so I can't speak to the fact that it'll feel the same as metal, And it probably won't because it's not the same material, but this, and I am Byron Evitz from Osborne Engineering. He's the engineer that came up with this fix. He can spew off all the scientific facts about his concrete mix that is going to make that edge durable enough to handle trucks sliding on it. And now, you're right, that's the concern, and that's why we're doing a trial period with this 40-foot section. And if it winds up not working out, say they don't slide as well on it, or then we'll look at how we're going to replace that metal coping around it.
What happens from like a insurance standpoint if we're offering this as something you can slide on, and a piece of that concrete chips out and causes a kid to fall in a way they wouldn't have if we had put metal coping in? Is there, I mean, in terms of the expectations, and we know how it's going to be used, if we are doing this, do we have a basis for confidence that the concrete will perform?
Yes.
Or are we doing this
There
in a
are
trial
other-
way that exposes the city to, or even more importantly, a kid to getting hurt?
No, it's not going to expose a kid to getting hurt. We have areas out there that are concrete that people grind on. And there are other skate parks who have transitioned from metal coping to a concrete edge as well.
And did we learn from them that people are just as satisfied with a concrete edge now that they've transitioned, or what have we learned?
So I haven't spoken to the people that skated at those parks. I know Byron Evitz went out there and he spoke to the people who maintained the park and took care of the park, and he said the people were responding positively. Now, everybody's different. Like I said, I met with some people at our skate park, and some said that they like grinding on the concrete edge. Some say that they would rather have the metal coping. It's really just going to be what the majority seems to like, I guess.
User preference.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but concrete edges are already out at our skate parks, and it's not the same concrete makeup that we're proposing. That would be a lot harder and better for the constant impact of trucks. So, I mean, it's not going to open the city up to any liability. There should be none of the issues that we have as far as concrete breaking and a kid falling or something like that.
In terms of feedback, hopefully positive, like for kids that are out there, how do we collect that feedback and get a sense of what the response is for our?
So we're kind of trying to work on that. The ideas that were kicked around were maybe putting a survey on the skate park building door. There are some people that have my email address, and anybody that I meet that skates out there, I've told them to just email me directly and let me know what their thoughts are. And I'm more than open to suggestions on how to go about that, but that's kind of what we were thinking, is just people emailing us, going out there, talking to people, having the survey thing on the door or something like that.
I think, yeah, posting contact information and giving people the ability to kind of respond when they're thinking, and asking the question, posting it, what do you think about these? I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Keith?
Mayor Trevisi, go ahead.
Josh, I can answer most of your concerns or questions. So, like I said, pro skater for 20 years. So I was there the day that park opened, July 4th. I've put thousands of hours into that park. So all your concerns are very valid. And I'm actually glad that you did pull the item to discuss, because we're going to get a lot of questions answered because of it. So I'll start off with, is it better to concrete than the metal coping? As a skater, I doubt it. Okay. But Scott came out with a really good compromise, and I will say that he did very well at advocating for the skaters as well. Having Scott on this program or this project, I trust him. I met with them. I met with the engineer at the same time, and Scott was very receptive. He was very concerned about the skaters' needs, and he understood the concerns. My main concern was I was in the field of absolutely not. It has to go back to metal. But hold on a second. I gotta stop that call. Okay. We came up with a solution for a compromise, which was the 40-foot section, which the 40-foot section compromise being concrete is in a spot where it's not as much of a flow section to where if you're grinding on metal, you're going just as fast as you are on wheels. So once you put it to concrete, you're going to slow your speed down in half. The section that we chose is, and this was kind of my thought, it's a quarter pipe, and it's not so much in the flow section. So it won't be as detrimental to put it there as a test section. So my thought too was, great idea. We'll test it in this section. That's not gonna be as big of a deal if it is concrete. And then we'll ask the skaters how they feel about it. Like I said, personally, I don't think they're gonna like it, but it's gonna be in a spot that's not gonna be that big of a deal if they don't like it, and we'll do the rest with metal. So I don't know if I answered all your questions, Josh, but I trust Scott. We had a real heart-to-heart, and he really cares.
No, Mr. Mayor, I think that's really smart. I'm personally a big fan of trying things and having the ability to reverse our decisions once we get some exposure and experience. So this is very much in line with that. I'd say as long as, and I think this is exactly what you're saying as well, as long as we're willing to listen to our skate park community and our kids, the folks that are using the park, and we keep it as good or better than it is now, this is a chance to learn and have a strong opinion based on experience instead of just best guesses. So I'm all for it. Thank you.
So I have a question. The metal is not, it's not a technical constraint. We can do the metal. This is more of a test section for preference, but if it's
not for preference.
Hang on. If we don't want to do the concrete, the metal is still feasible to do for the rest of the project.
The metal's feasible, it's just going to take a lot more engineering, and it's gonna be a lot more complicated of a project.
Got it, okay. So this is gonna
Real
take
quick.
preferential input whether we go one way or the other for the balance. Got it. Go ahead, Mayor.
So real quick, it's not, like I said, it's not the preference of the skaters. I know that because I'm a skater. But the engineer, so this is the thing, the engineer assured us he's got some special concrete that I haven't experienced before, but he says that it's going to be good. They're using it at skate parks all over. So to fix the metal issues that they're having with some of the copings now. So I said, I'm skeptical, but let's compromise. Like Scott said, let's just do this test section, and it's in a spot that's not going to be, it's not going to mess up the park.
Furthermore, and being that it's Byron is a resident of Cocoa Beach, and I can tell you cares as much about our kids as any. So if Byron is asking us to trust him, I think it's worth a try.
Agreed.
Okay, can I make a motion?
Absolutely.
I move to approve contracting Doug Wilson Construction Services to begin the renovations on the Cocoa Beach Skate Park.
I'll second.
Mayor, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Motion passes 5-0. Thanks, Scott. Good stuff. You know you're gonna get peppered with questions when you got 5 engineers. J1, thank you, Mayor, for that. Good insight and good coordination. J1, unfinished business.
Okay, this is adopt on second reading of ordinance 1690, an ordinance of the City of Cocoa Beach, Brevard County, Florida, to approve a planned development project with an accompanying master conceptual development plan, master conceptual site plan, and development agreement with accompanying attachments to amend the official zoning map of the City of Cocoa Beach by changing the zoning designation from Oceanside OC to Planned Development PD for 2 parcels of land totaling 4.667 acres, more or less located east of Ocean Beach Boulevard on the north, south side of Meade Avenue, and north of Pulsifer Avenue on parcels identified with parcel numbers 24, 37, 36, CG 113-6, and 24, 37, 26, CG 112-12 within the public records of Brevard County, Florida, providing for authorization, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Move to approve.
Staff Representative Lauren Wiltsey, Principal Planner Randy Stevenson, Development Services Director.
Move to approve ordinance 1690 on second reading, and this will be a roll call vote.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I have one public comment. Mr. John Dillon? You're up, sir.
It's John Dillon on East Osceola. Y'all know exactly what your vote's gonna be anyway, so that, really concerned about that. We know how that's gonna go. My concern is I reviewed the preliminary traffic study. They're having 1,031 vehicles during this project, for the future use, every day, okay? Then it comes back in there and shows the studies they did that on a Thursday, and from 8 to 9 is peak hours, and from 5 to 6 is peak in the afternoon, and the same on Saturday afternoon. They did back in, I think it's June or July, I can't remember the date on that. But anyway, they're telling you that you're gonna have, on these streets, we'll have, on Ocean Beach Boulevard, 184 vehicles in one peak hour. That's just in the morning. In the afternoon, it's 198, I believe it is. Think about that, say one peak hour in Ocean Beach Boulevard. If y'all remember, lived here, Ocean Beach Boulevard was remodeled several years ago. Went from a 4-lane to 2-lane, except for about 1.5 blocks from that, on the north side. It's down to 2-lane now, right? If you go back I walk across that, drive by that every day. When it rains, you'll see ruts on that street. What that does, when you put more vehicles, 184, that means more vehicles coming in on that road, the city's going back and repave that road over and over and over again. Now, this study tells you that you can use all this Ocean Beach Boulevard. You don't have to go back and go to A1A. You don't have to go to, because they got a red light at Shepherd Drive. Well, I was talking to Randy about this a few days ago. Randy needs to go back and put the foot down and back up the city of Cocoa Beach, not the customers, to try to take their property and do what they want, and make the city of Cocoa Beach pay for that road. This is going to road where the road's out, plus it's going to be using residential side streets using that. If you take a peak hour for 184, think how many cars that is per minute. Think about that, folks. You need to make sure their traffic goes in from Meade and out from Pulsifer. So maybe a few of them, but you need to make that design that goes out to Ocean Beach Boulevard. Let the company pay for their design problem, for the FDOT also. They will be part of that. Westgate needs to be paying for that, not the city of Cocoa Beach to take care of the roads for us. So again, the city's gonna come back and repave that road over and over again. Since you got the 2 restaurants at the end of 520, and you see the trucks plus the transit buses also on that road, once you have that much more for that resort, those trucks will be running on that Ocean Beach Boulevard all the time. Your road's gonna be ruined. So again, that's from the preliminary traffic study. You need to make sure the city backs up and say, no, we're not gonna accept this, and make sure you put the road go out to Pulsifer. Look on the entrance from Meade and exit on Pulsifer. 1,031 vehicles. Think about that, folks.
Thank you, John. Randy, any comments on that? My thoughts. I think the difference between the day trippers and the long-term resident, or the long-term visitors, would actually reduce the traffic, is the logic.
There are a lot of
You have any
parameters. I'm sorry,
comments?
Randy Stevenson, Director of Development Services. There are a lot of parameters that go into this, and you'll notice conceptual many times, including on the traffic study. We've got this is as I said before many times, this allows them to go forward and start putting things permanently to spending those dollars. It may well be that we have to do some things to the roadway. It may well be that we have to do some things to the pavement. The traffic motions that have been suggested will allow people into the site quicker and out in two different areas rather than coming back out in the one area at that one intersection. So that will dissipate some of the exiting traffic as well. A lot of things that go into the design of this thing. And the good thing about a PD, a PUD, but a PD as we call it, is that it's a negotiated settlement. You've heard me say that before. And part of the negotiation may well be some improvements to Ocean Beach Boulevard. We will know that as part of the process. This is getting us the ability to move forward with the project. And just to clarify a few things, I don't advocate for the developer. I'm an employee of the city or a contractor with the city. I advocate for the betterment of the city. But we've got to understand that at some point in time, what is best for the city is to redevelop properties and to add value to the city. So I want you to be assured that we're watching out for that. And we will do so on this project as well. Yes, sir.
So, if I'm not mistaken, currently, the surface parking is 650 spots, is that correct?
I think it's less than that. I think it's about just shy of 500.
Just did one for
500?
They're proposing over 600, I believe.
The current parking spaces in the existing parking lot are 270.
Yeah, it's like 300.
Okay, just shy of 300, 272.
Okay.
And the structured parking is 600 and, it's more than double.
Okay, that was the 650 number. I was
Right,
looking at.
and if you look at it, right now, you go in, you have a four-way intersection.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
I got that part. I'm aware of that part.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to see the numbers? It's on 62.
Did they say how many parking spots they currently have?
272.
270, it's on, I'm sorry, 254 existing, and then it's going to go up to 552 plus 50, so 602 is what's in the proposal. So 254 is existing, and then the growth from there is the additional service workers and the residents of the hotel.
The service workers, the hotel, and a continued open access to the pier.
So what was the delta or the growth from the 38 to the 50 upper? I see two different numbers. I'm just curious. It was
50 of those.
that generates how many I need to have. It originally was 38, now it looks like it's 50.
50, it was the development agreement stipulated 50 spaces that would be part of the city's parking program. They will be housed in the garage on the bottom floor.
Okay, so I misspoke. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
38, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the math's kind of off,
But
but
the
go ahead.
bottleneck's going away that
Yes.
currently exists. So traffic, even with more parking spaces, should flow better. Plus, I'm sure they're gonna have employee parking permits and give those employees a place to park. And they'll be there.
In my experience, the bottleneck is people go in there, they're all going in and coming out the same way. They're looking around for spots.
And they
People
don't,
just
and they
circle.
find out that they gotta pay.
Right.
And then they wanna turn around
And it's
and
just-
leave.
It's a total mess.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm ready to call the
Mayor
question.
Capizzi, go ahead.
Yeah. I agree. I'm usually totally against giving away city property, and but this project just makes sense in the terms of we're going to get our parking spots back. The problem is now with our parking spots is they're getting utilized by the pier personnel anyways with parking passes or whatever. So hopefully I would think now the pier would use their own spots instead of ours, which would free up more revenue for us, as well as now there's going to be a lot less traffic because now people aren't sitting there all the way down the whole road trying to figure out where they're going to find spots because there's not enough available in that space or because they're trying to pull out cash looking for it. So to me, it makes sense even for the residents. I think if you really dig down deep and try to figure out, what's going on here.
And if I may clarify, again, I've heard a statement about giving away property. the city is really not giving away property. These are rights of way. The city cannot sell that. It's vacated, it goes to the adjacent property owners. In this case, the adjacent property owner is the same on both sides.
And just for the record, we already had 2 readings and a 5-0 vote to vacate that property.
And let me clarify also, the 3-party agreement that was part of this has been approved, was approved on the 6th of August by the county commission. So all 3 parties have approved that 3-party agreement, the city, the county commission, and the developer.
Right.
So we can move ahead and ask the clerk to record that vacation.
Right, but the approval of the second reading is a simple majority.
The Mead Avenue property, that's ship sale. It's already done.
Yeah.
Any other comments, Commissioner?
No.
Any other public comments? Mr. Dillon, round 2.
Yeah, this is John Dillon, Osceola. One thing I meant to say, I forgot all about it, saying that design that I didn't see, anything about the Airbnb people, the pedestrians walking across Ocean Beach Boulevard. They come on my street all day and night. And it's not the 1 or 2 people, they come up with a family of 10, 15 people. You gotta realize that more vehicles, when Randy said that, or somebody said there's less vehicles, less traffic, that's just totally wrong on that. There's no way, the design shows the more traffic will increase. Again, you need to think about, the engineering company need to be thinking about the pedestrians on each street also, including the ones at Pulsifer and at Mead Avenue also. And you start about your safety that more overrides anything. When you got pedestrians, somebody gets hit, then what's gonna happen? The engineering ignore that. You have to include that also with the design. Like,
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Any other public comment? We have a motion and a second, and this is roll call, or? Okay. We have a motion and a second.
Commissioner Jackson,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
All right,
Commissioner Willis,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hutcherson,
Aye.
Mayor Capizzi,
Aye.
5-0.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, let's go.
I just want to say thank you. It's been 3 years, and your staff has been great on this, and we really appreciate it. Thanks.
You're going to
1688.
K3, no, K2.
No, actually, okay, new business, item 1. We need to have a motion, a second, and a vote to table this. It's approve on first reading of ordinance 1689. We're trying to preserve the advertisement for this.
I moved to table it to September 19th, 2024, and look for a second.
You have a motion on K1 to defer? Second, motion and second. All in favor to defer K1 to 9 September? 19
Aye.
September?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
And the reason I asked that to get pulled is that there's potential need for a workshop on that. People need to be educated on that. It's not just a read it and pass it type of deal.
Okay, K2,
Okay.
City Attorney?
All right, this is item K2, request City Commission review and approve first reading of ordinance 1688, amending the City of Cocoa Beach Comprehensive Plan and authorize transmittal of the proposed amendments to the State Land Planning Agency for the state coordinated review process prior to second reading. This is ordinance number 1688, an ordinance of the City of Cocoa Beach, Brevard County, Florida, agreement. Amend the comprehensive plan title to be City of Cocoa Beach Comprehensive Plan 2045, amending definitions to be consistent with the LDC, amending Section 1, future land use element, introduction data to reflect current population analysis and forecasting future growth, and amending policy I-11 and I-12, and amending flu maps to change dates to 2045, amending Section 2, coastal management element, introduction data and analysis, and policy I-11, adding North Thousand Islands management plan data, amending Section 3, conservation element, updating the introduction data and analysis, to include listed plant and animal species, amending Section 4, Recreation and Open Space Element, Introduction Data and Analysis Text, and Policy I-1.3 to reflect a 2045 planning horizon, amending Section 5, Housing Element, Introduction Test to reflect current population and growth trends through 2045, amending Section 7, Infrastructure Element, Introduction Data and Analysis Text, and Policies I-11, I-13, I-16, and Policies I-22 through I-24 to reflect the city's current potable water service provider and provide consistency with the city's potable water contractual agreement. Amend Section 8, Mobility Element, Policies I-13, I-120, and I-13.1 to reflect current transportation priorities, and update mobility maps to reflect 2024 conditions and anticipated 2045 conditions, amending Section 9, Capital Improvement Element to reflect recent CIP tables, and providing for findings, codification, conflict severability, and an effective date. Staff Representative Lauren Wiltz, Principal Planner Randy Stevenson, Development Services Director.
Thank you, City Attorney. That was a mouthful.
It was.
It's spot on.
You want me to do it again?
No, well, feel free.
Move to approve ordinance 1688 on first reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Ms. Scott?
Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. Doing these periodic comprehensive plan amendments and transmittals and so forth, I didn't go through the comp plan, I admit, but in the land management plan, it refers to Cocoa Beach being in the coastal high hazard zone. And I would like that language emphasized, highlighted in our comprehensive plan near the city, name of the city, Cocoa Beach. It's in the coastal high hazard zone. And the federal government recognizes that. And I think Florida, before we did away with the Department of Community Affairs, they used to try and discourage development east of 10 miles. They'd want you to move 10 miles to the mainland. Thank you.
Randy, I got a question for you. Just because the flu map is always a big deal, it looks to me like there's not really any change to the flu map.
What page is that, Commissioner Williams, 21?
Commissioner, modifications to the flu map are really just to reflect the PUDs, the PDs that have been approved when we rezoned the property. And I think there's two of them. So, but that's, you're right, that's the only change.
So that's it's on page 7
Yeah.
Can you put that up real quick? So this flu map is supposedly good till 2045.
Right now, you're right.
Well, everybody here is gone except for Janice because she's living forever.
If I could respond to Janet's comments, yes, we do. Every 7 years, we have to update the comprehensive plan. We addressed a lot of your concerns relative to the flood zones and the high hazard areas. And if you recall, in 2022, we went through an addition of something called peril of flood in the comp plan, so that information is in there. That was a requirement by the state that we add that to address specifically the high hazard areas. Without going into too much detail, you know, Cocoa Beach has VE zones on the coast. We have AE zones on the west and a lot of the finger areas where we have minimum base flood elevations, things of this nature. And Janice is right, we do have high hazard areas that we have to address and did so within the peril of flood to meet state requirements. Our comp plan was approved in 2022 for that. And just so you'll know, and Lauren can cover this as well, but we're not due another evaluation and appraisal report until 2028. The reason we're before you tonight is we're just mainly was to update the horizon for our comp plan, which right now is 2025. Well, 2025 is next year. We have to do a 10-year and a 20-year, so we're doing a 2035 and 2045. And we took the opportunity to update the CIP, to update the population projections, to update some of the language relative to our potable water providers, to update some levels of service as well within the comprehensive plan. In my opinion, there are no substantive changes. Most of those changes will come as a result of some development activity or as a result of your 2028 evaluation and appraisal report that will be due at that point in time.
Okay, so Vanna, can you walk up on the stage and point out, oh, he's got to point out. Just point out the minimal changes that are made to the flu map for the next 20 years. Because we've had some really big ones in the past.
We have, as you'll see, the purple areas here represent the redevelopment districts that we approved through this commission. We have a PD right here, which is the Drift. We have a PD right in here, which is the Weston. And we will have a PD up here by the pier. That is the one you just looked at tonight, that rezoning. Those are the major changes relative to the land use when you go to the land use and zoning. Those are the major changes to this. Other than that, it stayed basically intact.
Okay, yeah. I just want everybody to realize that. And all those were already vetted and approved.
Yeah, it's primarily just updating the date and adding the approval block to document the official approval by the board, the city planning board and the commission.
Okay.
That's really the only change.
All right, so this is our first reading, so it's a voice vote.
And if I could, this is really what we call a transmittal hearing. If you vote to transmit it tonight, we have to transmit it to the state land planning agency, who will take somewhere between 30, 45, 60 days. They will come back to us, it's fine, we suggest the following comments. We will add those and bring this back to you for any final action that may happen. So you'll see this again probably later in the fall.
Is that the DOE?
It used to be the DOE, it's now the State Land Planning Agency, and I forget the exact title, but it's equivalent to the DOE. Right?
Just keep changing names. So
they do.
You can't.
It's hard for us to keep up with.
Keep track of them. Okay.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yeah, Randy, thank you for the insight. Will the adjustment here and the projections we're making about number of residents and a number of the factors, will that enable the directors of the different departments within the city to start making plans associated with how we meet those types of increases?
Well, they're not all increases. Population's not an increase, so yes.
Or changes.
And we actually, I think our potable water consumption actually went down as well. So we're just trying to update it to the most recent data that we have. Of course, the CIP needed to be updated anyway because it's changed. We change that just about every year, but we wanted to get the latest and greatest in the comp plan as we move forward. So things like that, updating that data, the levels of service, the population data, those are the things that we looked at, because we can't just go in and say, hey, change the dates. We want to take the opportunity to bring it up to speed as much as possible. And to be real honest with you, we're still gleaning this document for dates. We'll have a thing that says by 2004, the city shall. Well, dates don't belong in a comprehensive plan. They're goals, objectives, and policies. And when we start putting dates in there, we're going to limit ourselves, and we're going to be out of sync because if we miss a date. So we're looking at things like that. And we do that every time we do an update to the comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
Endeavor.
By the next 2004.
Call the question.
So I just have a real quick comment. So I'm reading all the language. I just want to confirm this is deferring to variations in the CIP plan, so we're not locked in. I read all that verbiage, it makes sense.
It's not very, we just incorporated the latest CIP plan.
Gotcha,
It's
so it's just
approved.
information only, we have no obligation to follow that at all, because,
No,
yeah,
there's the one policy in there that actually says that
it defers
when
to,
you, every time you adopt a CIP, it automatically updates the plan without changing the maps.
got it, thank you for that.
It's by reference, so we don't have to change the document every time, but this
Yeah,
time we took
makes,
that opportunity.
makes total sense, yeah. I mean, I saw the stormwater, what triggered my mind is we were already took the action to rack and stack the stormwater initiatives to try to mitigate that rate increase we talked about.
And based
last
upon your last meeting, we were able to say that the stormwater master plan was adopted.
Yeah.
That alone kept us at an 8 with the community rating service. We're hoping to go to a 7, but we may get there, we may not, but at least we maintain the 8, and that
Because
makes
that
a
was
difference
adopted and that got
on
put in.
what people are paying
Got
for
it.
flood insurance, correct?
Okay. Cool, thank you guys, appreciate that.
If I may?
Mayor, go ahead, you have a comment?
Yeah, I was kind of only getting half of that because it's hard to hear. Was he talking about adding to some of the PD zone?
No, we're just reflecting the ones that have currently been approved.
Okay, you mean through the process that have already been voted through
Either.
individually?
Already approved by the commission in the past. Just an
Okay,
update.
and requested by the owners?
No, it's the zones, there's,
Well, yeah, these are required updates based on changes we made since we put the 2025 plan in place quite a few years ago.
Okay, quick question then. Is across from the Veterans Realty property, it's a little over 3 acres. Is that in a PD zone?
across east of A1A or north of Veterans?
It's on the west side of A1A across from it's at Veterans Realty, across from the resort.
No.
The Veterans Realty is on the west side of A1A.
Right. Is that in a PD zone?
No.
It does not appear. That's all east of A1A, that PD?
No.
Yeah, so no, that is not in the PD.
Is that something you guys would be interested in adding? The reason why I say that is because obviously that lot's been vacant for a long time. And obviously there's something wrong with being able to build on it, or somebody would have built on it already. And I think it's restricted to the zoning of it.
Mayor, do you remember when your dad wanted to buy that property for $1.4 million to move Club Zion from downtown to a new building? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you realize that the people that own that property, every time they got an offer on that property, they raised the price of the property? And if it's not 2.9 million now, it's 3.1 million. So it's not the zoning that's keeping that property from being developed. It's,
Price.
yeah, let's just say
Isn't there something about it where you can't sell retail?
it's
on
the
it?
price.
Yeah, no, from talking to people, it's not, the way it's zoned is not conducive to what
Provide
can actually make money.
services, you can provide services, but it can't be retail.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
the-
on A1A, it just, to me, it's just something to think about because it's been vacant a long time.
We have a deadline to transmit this and to get it through. If we want to rezone property, then we'll put it through the process with the city. And when the 2065 plan comes out, we'll reflect it on the next go-round of this. And
Okay, I'm just
hopefully
asking you guys to
hopefully
just think about it.
Hopefully you'll still be here, Keith.
If I
Well,
might
yeah,
clarify too.
all I'm saying is think about it, there's a reason why that's not getting
We've
built
gone
on.
over
and-
that multiple times over the years.
If the property owner wants that property to be rezoned, they need to bring it to the city and ask for it to be rezoned, and there can be a small-scale comp plan amendment.
Didn't we address this at some point in the past?
From what I understand, it was recently sold.
Hang on.
I don't remember on that particular piece of property, but, you know, we don't typically, and it's not a good idea because we get a Bert Harris claim, for us to, unless the property owner wants to rezone something, we don't rezone it.
Right.
So,
Go ahead, Mayor.
you know, it's the ball's in the owner's court to come in
Right.
and
And
make a
it's not
request.
affecting transmittal of this.
No, this has nothing, this is apples and oranges, because we can do a small-scale comp plan change if the owner comes in and asks for something different.
Okay.
It's labeled as high-density residential and professional, but the zoning is an entirely different issue.
As I recall, this area is in an area that has an underlying zoning of CN, and we put the overlay on it because we wanted to facilitate some development. It's a very difficult strip of land because on one side, you've got single-family residential.
Yeah.
On the other side, you're fronting on a major state highway.
And it's the stub ends of that canal.
Right.
Go ahead, Mayor, one last comment.
Oh, no, I was just saying, from what I understand, I think it was recently sold, actually.
They took the sign down, I don't know if it's sold.
But if they want that to happen, then they have to bring it to us, the owner.
It's the same as the people that bought the Glass Bank property. Then they decided what they wanted to do with it, and then they brought it to us.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm just bringing it up. I'll vote for what we got currently. I'm just bringing it up.
I kind of vaguely remember, I think this got to the Board of Adjustment once when they wanted to do a project there like years ago, and it kind of got shot down or something, the rezoning.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because I've heard from people that were wanting to buy it. They just said the zoning was messed up.
Well, I think they tried to do it at one point.
Well,
it didn't go through. So. And it was Board of Adjustment.
Keith, if you're serious about buying the property, you could put a contract in place that said that it's contingent on the owner going to the city and getting it rezoned to what they want, you know, because that's the owner's responsibility to make that, you know, to bring that forward. So just because, oh, it's not zoned that way, so I'm not going to buy it, well, that's, you know, any savvy businessman can write a contract that'll help them move their project forward, even though it does take time.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other closing thoughts?
Voice
or-
vote.
Voice vote? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, next.
K3.
Okay, this is approve on first reading of ordinance 1692, an ordinance of the City of Cocoa Beach, Florida, amending section 1-8, general penalty, continuing violations, adjudging fines and imprisonments of chapter 1, general provisions, and section 5-49.1, penalty for violation of article, and article 3B, oceanfront building restriction line and seawall line of Chapter 5 beaches, fills, boats, and waterways, and Section 26-7, illegally parked motor vehicles in a towaway zone, removing storage restoration of Article 1 in general of Chapter 26 traffic of the Cocoa Beach Code of Ordinances, updating penalty provisions for violations of the city code, and eliminating all outdated references to municipal judges from the city code, and providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Wait, you got to read the staff representative part.
Oh, sorry.
What's she call
Staff
me on it?
Representative Becky Vos, City Attorney Randy Stevenson, Director of Development Services.
You called me on it last time when I made a motion before
I
you
know.
read it.
I'm sorry, hey.
All right,
it's getting
so I
late.
make a motion to approve ordinance 1692 on the first reading.
We have a motion? Second. And a second? I have one public comment, this is Scott.
Well, I would appreciate it if, when things like this come up, if the Director of Development Services would, since he's a staff representative, would talk about it and say what this is, why it's on here, why you're doing it. It's the first reading, so I see all this about towing and illegal parking, et cetera. And I had a discussion with the director maybe 3 years ago, and the previous city manager anyway, and it was that contractors are not to leave their trailers on city streets parked without being attached to a vehicle. They're to put them in the driveway, put them in the lawn, somewhere, not in the public right-of-way. And at that time, the director told me he was having them sign when they get a permit that they will not leave those trailers in the roadway. And you know what I'm talking about? The construction trailers. They're black. Sometimes they put a little orange thing out, or maybe they don't. Back in the day, in the dark ages, they used to put those kerosene lamps lit all night long. But anyway, I think that is something that goes on in the city way too often, and I would like it incorporated here if that could be incorporated. And nobody who's ever applied for a permit has ever tells me they've never seen anything to sign that says they're not to leave their trailer in the roadway. So maybe we could have a word.
So if the code says we're not allowed to do that, what this is addressing is saying in section 1.8, which it all points back to, it should be unlawful for any person to violate or fail to comply with any provisions of the code, regardless of any provision of law to be contrary in violation to any provision of this code shall be punishable by a fine not exceeding $500 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 60 days, or by both fines. Okay? Each day any violation of the provision of this code shall constitute a separate offense. And then it added, in addition or alternatively, as deemed appropriate by the city manager, code violations can be addressed through proceedings before the city's special magistrate in accordance with the city and state law, which is what we do now. We have a special magistrate. And then it just clarified in section 549.1, penalty for violations of the article, that it refers back to section 1.8 of the code. And illegally parked motor vehicles, it just changed it to say the charge for towing or removal of such vehicle or storage charges shall be fixed from time to time by a municipal judge. Well, we don't have a municipal, that's not part of their responsibility, so they got changed to city manager. And then such charges shall be posted for public inspection in the office of the municipal clerk or the police department, and in any garage designated by the city manager, which would be the ones we've already approved for towing vehicles. So this is pretty straightforward, and it wouldn't, you know, if the code already says you can't do something, this just kind of clears up what the penalties and procedures are and who makes the decisions. So
Yeah, the purpose of this ordinance, I mean, you said it kind of in a long way, but the purpose of the ordinance is I had gotten a phone call with regard to who's the municipal judge? And I said, they got rid of municipal judges when they passed Article 5, which is in 1975. I remember when that happened. And so we just went back through and we looked up every time there was a municipal judge referenced. And we also started looking at kind of the strange way that penalties were dealt with. So the whole purpose of this is just kind of straighten out the penalty sections in the code. And if there's going to be a substantive change to one of these sections other than relating to the penalties, it needs to be in a separate ordinance. Because we do have a one subject rule for municipal ordinances, and the one subject on this is to straighten out the penalties.
We've
If that
alleviated
helps.
conflicting requirements in multiple sections.
I'm ready to vote.
Say again?
Vote.
Oh, any other public comment? Go ahead.
Okay, so, yes, I understand about the penalties and everything. I read it all. I'm just taking the opportunity, I guess, that are stated to bring up, is it illegal in the city? Is it in the code? Has Development Services put it on the form that the contractors are signing? So that, I know it's not the specific point of this ordinance, but it was the opportunity to bring up that danger. Thank you.
I don't know, Randy, did you want to add anything to that, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but give you the opportunity.
Again, we can look at that. I mean, we may have had the conversation, and I'm not saying we didn't, I just can't remember it. I'm getting old. But we do monitor with the police department illegal parking, making sure, I know a big thing for us is making sure our emergency vehicles can get through some of these residential streets and so forth, and overnight parking of these types of vehicles. We try to monitor that through them, but I will check I know we have documents that are signed, the owner builders, things like that. I'll check those documents and see if there's anything in there that we may want to update. Becky, I'll get with you on it.
Okay. Rick, did I see your hand up, Mr. Anderson? You good? Okay. Any other public comment? No, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, that's, any other general public comment in closing? Yes, sir. Come on up, Mr. Anderson. City Manager, I apologize if I was not supposed to call staff. I'm a pinch hitter tonight. I kept calling up Randy myself.
Rick Anderson, 1800 Minuteman Causeway, and I'm having a really hard time understanding priorities here. A golf course, a skate park, a pool, all these things are wonderful to have, okay? But a little bit earlier in the meeting, we're talking about a public safety issue, which is to remove invasive weeds that can hurt somebody and that can make somebody very sick, like poison ivy. Yet somehow we're debating how to come up with the money to do this necessary public safety issue when we just spent, without even thinking about it, a similar amount of money for the skate park. Now, if the money's not there to do both, then it seems to me that it has to be spent on the public safety issue and not on what amounts to just a luxury item.
I'll add to that. I know we're not supposed to, but great point. I mean, that was my pushback when this first came up on the park is, why now? This has never been discussed, and I completely hear you. I want to get that for full transparency on the 5-year roadmap so we understand these things, and that was part of my pushback. I want to do the project, but in all fairness, I want to have full visibility so people see where that sits in the 5-year capital improvement plan.
You have to,
But
the city mows the trails at Maritime Hammock. If you stay on the trail, any of the trails, you're not going to get into poison ivy. It's on the sides of the trails. So it's not a public safety issue, and just to prove it, Commissioner Willis survived poison ivy.
Well, yeah, but it was horrible. Like a month.
What about homeless people?
Okay, any other, Mr. Dillon, closing comments?
If you read that item, it says anything that wasn't covered in the first 30 minutes of public comments.
It's John Dillon on East South Hill. Go back to your commissioner, with Skip and Wayne talking about the ladder. My question is, did the engineering company, the architectural engineering company, did they know what the OSHA requirements when they designed that?
I don't think they knew.
That's my question. Another question is, didn't somebody in the city that did not review the design package and pull mistakes out of that? That's what amazed me. All right, number 2.
Well, I'm sorry it took me so long to catch it.
Well, you got to open your eyes. That's, but somebody that don't see design packages like Skip and I do, Nobody reviewed the design package for that, nobody. This is a commissioner, about somebody that does that type of work. Throughout the weeds, if you call it, growing. 2 years, I guess it was, a year and a half, 2 years ago, going between North Carolina into Tennessee, and they have sprayed all the kudzu. And they've just totally amazed me, but the leaves, everything from the trees are still growing. I will see if I can find out what kind of chemical that is. They used to do that. That might help the city for that. If it was, I'll let you know about that. The third thing is, I've noticed this for quite a while. I'm not sure this room will be closed or not. You see this mold around here? I don't know if it's already been treated and processed. I don't know that. I don't know if the fire department people had to take care of this or not. But that mold doesn't need to be here. It need to be processed and eliminate that. Close this room or get over there to use a different room for that. You got a health problem with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Any other comments? All right, thank you all. Meeting adjourned.